Hi guys, I'm Kayla and I'm going to be giving you a summary of my book and then reading it. This book is about kind of like Hunger Games, but there's 4 elements, the 4 main ones, and then the capital, darkness. So there's water, fire, air, and earth, and then the capital, darkness. The 4 people from each element volunteer to fight to the death. So yeah, let's get started, I guess. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see it. My speech is a little bad, so here we go. Go again, Phoenix said, his voice firm, my legs aching, and I didn't think I could run anymore. I knew why he was making me do this. I had to win, but I wasn't sure how much longer I could keep going. Can I take 5? I asked, expecting him to say no. Fine, he said unexpectedly. I sat down and reached for my water bottle, glancing at my unfinished essay that was due today. I hadn't even started it. With a sigh, I stood up. I'm ready, I said, even though I wasn't. If I wasn't ready, I'd have to keep practicing. Or who else? 3, 2, 1, go, Phoenix yells. I ran as fast as I could, despite the escape, just as I dove behind a tree. I heard a whiz of an arrow fly past. You almost got shot, Phoenix taunted, smirking. How am I supposed to focus on school when all I have to do is train? I muttered under my breath. But Phoenix wasn't listening. He never had anything good to say to me, not since Mom died. Now he just forced me to train over and over. After I got my skateboard and rushed off to school, I spotted Nova outside. Hey, I called, waving. Ruby and Jade were already inside, stuck in different homerooms, but Nova was in mine. How was it this time? Nova asked, referring to the training. Bad, I admit, not wanting to talk about it. I barely made it here on time. The bell rang. Before I could say more, as the teacher reminded us of the no powers, no phones rule, I zoned out. Thinking about the training field and what it would be like to finally step into the competition. Ashley, are you even listening? My teacher called out, snapping me back into reality. Oh yeah, I stammered. Just then the speaker announced, Ashley Stone, please report to the front office. I froze. What now? As I grabbed my things and headed to the office, my mind raced. Was it about my training, my dad? When I got there, I realized it was something else entirely. Interviewers. They were interviewing the students to go into the field. I forgot to write this, and friends for the people who are friends with the students, but yeah. Anyway, you're the last one, the officer worker said, handing me a clipboard. I sighed. Of course, I was the last one. Why did you volunteer for this? The interviewer asked, his tone skeptical. I hesitated. Should I tell him the truth that I wanted to prove myself, or should I just say I had no choice? I wanted to, I finally said, hoping they wouldn't ask more. What is your strategy? He pressed. Okay, so I forgot to say this. I'm using ChatGPT, so ChatGPT helped me with this. So it could be easier for me. Yeah, but I did most of the work. It just made it more detailed and grammared it for me. So yeah, let's continue reading. This is gonna take a while. I might have to do this in chapters. I'm at page 3 of 79. So let's continue. I tried to answer as best as I could, but the questions didn't stop until the lunch bell rang finally. I escaped to the cafeteria. Hey, haven't seen you all day, Jade said, sitting next to me. They were interviewing us for the field, I said, grabbing my lunch. I jogged to the cafeteria table, dropping my bag next to Ruby, who had already wolfed down half her lunch. So how'd it go? She asked, sipping from her water. Ugh, don't even ask, I said, rubbing my temples. I think the guy interviewing me hated me. Ruby laughed. That's just his face. They want to see how far they could push you, right? Before I could answer, Jade and Nova joined us. Nova tossed her tray on the table dramatically. I swear, I thought the interview was going to end with them asking for my source. Jade smirks. Well, they didn't even have to ask me anything. They know I'm the best. We all rolled our eyes but laughed away. The weight of the day started to ease after the final bell rang. Final bell rang. Ruby and I walked to the front steps. Where I grabbed my skateboard. Sorry. Come on, Ruby said, nudging my shoulder. Let's run home. You need it for training anyway, and I need to blow off steam. I groaned, but I knew she was right. Training waited for me, whether I liked it or not. We took off, Ruby pacing beside me as our sneakers slapped against the pavement. A cool air felt good against my skin, and for a moment I almost forgot about how much I hated what waited at home. When I got home, Ruby gave me a quick glance. Good luck, she said, grinning. Don't let Phoenix kill you. I rolled my eyes. Yeah, thanks for that. I walked inside to find the place as empty as ever. Dad wasn't home, no surprise there. But Phoenix was. You're late, he said as I walked through the door, arms crossed and his ever-present bow slung over one shoulder. School just ended, I snapped, tossing my skateboard to the side. No excuses, get your gear and meet me outside, he ordered, before turning on his heel. I sighed, but I grabbed my water bottle and headed out. Phoenix was already waiting, his face hard and unreadable. Let's see if you've improved, he motioned for me to start running. I didn't say anything, I just started running. Ruby's encouragement echoed faintly in my mind as I pushed myself through. I ran as fast as I could, the wind whipping past me as Phoenix threw back his bow. He released the arrow, and I ducked just in time, the sharp whoosh cutting through the air above me. Again, he said sternly, already notching another. I don't know what that says. I did not make that rule. ChatGPT did. Another arrow. We repeated the drill over and over, the weight of exhaustion pulling at my legs. Every time I thought about stopping, Phoenix's glare kept me moving. I wasn't about to give him a satisfaction of calling me weak. By the time the sun dipped below the horizon, it was 6. I could barely stand. Phoenix finally called it off. His face showed just the faintest trace of approval. Not that he even ever admitted it. Inside, the house was still and quiet. Phoenix put some soup on the stove while I slumped into the chair at the kitchen table, staring at my trembling hands. He sat down across from me, his expression as unreadable as ever. You got homework, he asked, his tone flat. I nodded, trying not to meet his eyes. Good. Do it. If not, we're going back to training. My stomach twisted. I wanted to tell him I was done. Mentally, physically, all of it. But I knew better. If I told him I was exhausted, he would just drag me outside again and push me harder. Got it, I mumbled, pulling out my crumbled notebook. The truth was, I'd rather do homework anyway. At least it didn't leave me bruises. As I stared down at my notebook, the words blurred together. I pressed the page, trying to focus, but my mind kept drifting to this field. 2 days, that's all I had left. The thought weighed on me like a lead blanket. I tried to push it away, but it kept creeping back, stronger every time. What if I didn't make it? What if I wasn't fast enough, strong enough, or even smart enough? I gripped my pencil. The eraser snapped under the pressure. The sound startled me, and I froze. I froze, staring at the broken piece in my hand. I shook my head to refocus, but the thought couldn't stop. I could see it in my head. Me out there, failing. Me not coming back. Phoenix's voice snapped me out of it. "You're spacing out," he said, not even looking up from his soup. "Focus." I nodded, swallowing hard. "I'm fine," I lied. But I wasn't fine, not even close. Thursday was almost over. 2 days. I had 2 days to somehow be ready for something that felt impossible. And I wasn't sure if I could do it. By the time I finished my homework, it was 8. 2 hours of staring at the same page, erasing and rewriting, my brain fighting me every step of the way. The words dancing across the paper, twisting and blurring thanks to my dyslexia. My hand echoed from gripping the pencil so hard. Every sentence feeling like a mountain to climb. ADHD didn't help either. I kept losing focus, my thoughts from one to worry to another next. And dysgraphia, well, that just made my messy handwriting even worse. I had to rewrite one page 3 times to make it legible. I leaned back in my chair, exhausted. My body, he ached from earlier training, and now my brain felt just as tired. But Phoenix wasn't going to care. "You're done? Good," he said as he stood up and stretched. "Get your shoes on. Time for more practice." I stared at him. My stomach sank. I've been working for hours," I mumbled, but I knew it wouldn't matter. "Doesn't matter," he replied, his voice flat. "The field isn't going to wait for you to be ready." I wanted to argue, to tell him I couldn't take another step, but I knew it was useless. Phoenix wasn't the type to let me off. If anything, he just pushed harder. So I grabbed my shoes, dragging my feet as I headed towards the door. My legs felt jelly. It felt like jelly. My arms heavy and my mind racing with dread. 2 more days. Just 2 more days, and I wasn't ready. And I still wasn't ready. I was outside training until midnight, every muscle in my body screaming for a break, but I didn't dare say anything. Phoenix watched me like a hawk, pushing me harder each time I slowed down. The cold night air bit my skin, and my legs felt like lead with every step I took. Finally, at 12, he let me stop. I dragged myself inside, every part of me aching as I headed to the bathroom. The hot water from the shower stung my cuts and bruises, but did little to wash away. The exhaustion clinging to me like a second skin. After I got up, I wrapped myself in a towel and glanced at the clock. Midnight. I still had to do more homework to finish. My heart sank at the thought. With my ADHD, dyslexia, and dysgraphia, I finished doing one assignment. Felt like a marathon. I knew I'd be up until 4 a.m. at least scratching away at my papers, erasing and rewriting, fighting against my own mind. At least I didn't have to go to school tomorrow. Training was my excuse, but was it really a break? No, Phoenix would have me outside before sunrise, running drills and pushing me to the limit. I sighed and sat down at my desk, staring at the mountain of unfinished work. My hands trembling as I picked up my pencil. 2 days until I leave for the field. 2 days. 2 days to prepare for the fight. I wasn't sure I'd survive. I woke up at 5 a.m. to the sound of my brother's voice. I had fallen asleep at my desk while doing homework, which never happens. My body felt stiff and my neck aching. I groggily rubbed my eyes and tried to shake off the exhaustion. Getting up, I changed into my training clothes. The fabric cold against my skin despite the lack of sleep. My mind was already on the field. I couldn't afford to be lazy, not now. I walked us downstairs into the kitchen, where Phoenix was already sitting at her table, sipping his coffee. He glanced over at me as I entered. Why are you in your training clothes? He asked, his voice thick with mixture of concern and frustration. You need a rest so you won't be exhausted in the field. You're already perfect at training. I didn't want to say anything. He wouldn't understand. Rest wasn't an option. Not when I still felt like I wasn't ready. I turned and made my way back to my room, determined to sneak out the window and get some training in before Phoenix could stop me. But as I approached the window, I froze. Phoenix's friends were standing guard outside, blocking the escape. They crossed their arms, looking way too casual for my liking. Guess I'm stuck here, I muttered under my breath, frustration bubbling up inside me with no way out. I gave up the idea for training. I jumped on my pillow, my red, wavy hair flying up into the air. They bounced slightly as soon as my head hit the pillow. Exhaustion took over within seconds since I was asleep. The weight of the day's worries faded for just a little while.